Okay, hopefully you can see, right, everyone? Yes. Okay. 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 So, before I even start, before I even go, I will give you some little bit understanding about this periodic table. So, hopefully, sir has given you some understanding or told you what is this periodic table and what are those things. See, periodic table is nothing more than a category. It's a library. Okay, it's a catalog. Let's say catalog of different kind of elements. We already know that there are only, if you count that, there is 118 to 120 elements. Why we are saying 118 to 120 is most of them are still not discovered. There is 118 elements that we know of. There may be lots and lots of different elements exists in our universe, but for the moment we know a very small amount of elements, and though they are small amount, mm, but for us it's already a whole new thing. This 118 element naturally occurring around 92 elements, these 92 elements can create the whole universe that we know of. So try to understand that by simply mixing and matching, how many things can happen. Try to imagine in your kitchen, if you know how to cook, or you can ask your parents, your mother, or anyone who cooks, that with few simple ingredients, just by mixing and matching and doing some preparation, we can do lots and lots. We can prepare, or we can sell, use lots and different things. We can not only do chicken fry, we can do chicken in gravy, butter chicken, so many things are happen. And if you go through, there are basic few ingredients like same oil, same chicken, something like that. But if we know how the different ingredient works, we can easily we can easily create many things. Okay, so those who cooks, they know that which will taste what, how they will behave, where to put what, so that things comes together, and we can get a very, what you can say, tasty food or something like that. So same thing happens in nature also. These different kind of see, there are these different kind of elements, they comes together and makes lots and lots of different type of what, compounds that we know of. Now even this us as a human being, we are not computers or something else. It's really impossible for us to know or remember or memorize exactly how these elements will behave. uh, Basically, what I'm trying to say is, you cannot remember each one's behavior, because each one behaves differently than others. Although they have quite similar between each of them, they are quite different to each others. So what should we do? We do one simple things, we try to categorize them. What is the very good thing about categorizing? If you know something, some of them, if you know, you can also know others. Okay, so like if you know how grain works, grain means rice, okay, wheat, other things. So you have kind of idea, even though that rice, wheat, ragi, jowar, these things are quite different to each other, but somehow they became a categorized, somehow they are categorized, somehow we know what to do with them. Right, they will form some flour, most of them form some flour, you can make bread out of them, or they have carbohydrate in them, they behave kind of same, and you use them in same kind of area. So that is called categorizing. So we categorized is a grain. Same thing here. If we have lots of different elements in our surrounding, what we can do, we can simply categorize them, so that if we know some of them or the trend in periodic table, we call it trend. So if we know the trend of these things, we may understand at least few of them. So if we just remember or memorize the trends, that how group 1 will behave, group 2 will behave, so we don't have to memorize each one's behavior. That is our target, and that is why we want to go for this modern periodic table. So as you told, sir was talking about modern periodic table. See, before modern periodic table there was this Dobernier's triad. If anyone has problem, please ask me question, no problem. So you can see there is Dobernier's triad. Okay, so what is this Dobernier's triad? See, Dobernier's triad is simply in a way you can say that when some of the, if we categorize them by 3, means 1 2 3 something like that, you will sometime find that 3 of them, means first one and last one atomic weight is, if we average them, you will get kind of nearby the middle ones. Okay, there are lots of things maybe confusing to you. What is atomic weight? See, atomic weight is the weight of one atom, nothing else. So we measure it with AMU, or atomic mass unit. Atomic mass unit is 1/12 of any carbon atom's weight. 1/12 of carbon atom. Yes, we don't have that much time to explain all of the things, so please try to be with me. Any question you can ask me. So first thing, like calcium and beryllium, if you take the atomic weight of these two, you will find that if we do the average of calcium and beryllium's atomic weight, you will find strontium. Same thing will chlorine and iodine. If you take chlorine and iodine's atomic weight and average it, you can get the bromine. So this was the first try. Then comes the Newland's octave. Octave means I am just revising a little bit fast. So those who have not appeared last classes, I am give you a small bit of class reminder. So this is called the Newland's octave. Octave is for sa re ga ma pa dha ni sa. So the sa last one, the 8th one, is the repetition of the first one. So if we arrange arrange the elements, their increasing number of their atomic weight, like hydrogen is the lightest first, then helium, then chlorine. This way if we arrange it, we will find that the 8th one always are quite similar to the first one. Okay, so this is the way we need to understand. So this is the first way you can understand something is coming out. Like here you can see that lithium or sodium, lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, then sodium. So this is the 8th one. So 8th one and the first one will be similar. Same on the second one and the 9th one are kind of similar. So this is the way we have started something in. From these findings, Mendeleev was the Russian inventor or chemist. He started this different kind of structure, or different kind of, we call it now periodic table. So these periodic tables are created by Mendeleev, and this was later on corrected or improved by our modern scientists. How they are corrected? There was some problem. Basic problem was, we were talking about, till now we were only talking about the increasing number of atomic weight, but atomic weight has a very basic problem. It is not clear sometime how, this is not fundamental. Basically it's not fundamental. Fundamental means it's not unique to that single atom. Sometimes two similar atoms can behave similar, two similar atoms having same weight, but they are different elements. This is possible in some isotopes. Okay, in some cases of isotopes. So those cases it's near impossible to isolate them. And for these problems, like we shifted from atomic weight to atomic number. Okay, so atomic number means the number of protons in any atom's nucleus. Okay, that is its atomic weight. Like hydrogen has 1, helium has 2, lithium has 3, this way it increases. So if we increase it, then you can see we can find something like this. This is the atomic periodic table of modern one. And let me show you what are those things and what are each one of them are called. Okay, so this one, like this vertical lines are called the group. Okay, and these lines, horizontal lines, they will be called period. So if you try to count, there is 18 groups, 1 2 3 4 5 6 to 18, and there is 7 periods. 18 groups and 7 period. Each one does not have fulfilled one. Some of have only 2, some has only 3, some has more than that, some has totally full, some has incomplete. The 7th one is called the incomplete periodic table. So let me go through. So first thing, that physical and chemical properties of chemical elements are periodic function of their atomic number. So it is directly depend on atomic number. So that's what I have told you. So see, groups. The 18 vertical columns of the periodic tables are called group. Elements of groups 1 and 2 and 13 and 17 are called normal or representative group. So these are just nicknames. So what are they saying? That elements that are actually from 1 to and 13 to 17 are called normal or representative. Normal means they are hugely available in our site, you can see. Okay, they are normal, they are more common, that's why you say. Then elements group 3 to 14 12, they are transitional element. Can anyone tell me why they are called transitional element or transition element? Let me ask you how much you know. So please tell me, who can say that what is a transition element, why they are called group, those group 3 to 12, or if you can be very sure, the D block element. As you know that periodic table has 4 blocks. I will be coming to that. Before that, tell me why they are called transitional element. Can anyone tell me? They act like metal. No, Priya, they are metal. All of them are metal, but they are called transitional element for a reason. Anyone else? Anyone? No one. No one knows why they are called. It's quite easy. Everyone, people should knowing it. Magnetic property? No, not magnetic property. Magnetic property only. Most of them have elements have magnetic property, leaving you few. Partially filled orbital? No, not that also. So see, partially filled orbital are most of the elements, only noble gases, leaving all noble gases. So okay, I'll tell you what they. Just give me 3-4 topics, then I will tell you why they are called. Slow transition? No, Priya. Thank you for participating. But kind of, through them metal slowly converts into metal. It's kind of, I'll give you a grant. Okay, but it's not what you are thinking. No, they are highly non-electronegative. All D block elements are electropositive. Okay, let me give you the answer why we say this. See, because if you go through this one, all of you know that first two groups are called S block, right? Why S block? Because the last electron comes the S. And if you go for this block group 13 to 18, they are called P block element, because the last electron goes into the P block or P block or P subshell. That's why they are called this P block. Okay, and this middle one 3 to 12, this is called the D block element, because the last electron comes through D. Now if you look at above principle, last day very few of you were there, so above principle, if you see there, so you can see that above principle says that first you have to go through SP, then you have to come to D. Sorry, first you have to go through sometime S, then D, then P. Okay, sometimes this happens like this one 2, they are first filling up D, then going to P. So if you want to fill up S block to P block, they have to go through the D block or transition. So anything metals, those who are transiting, means they are not actually moving, but when electrons goes from S block to P block, they have to go through D block. Okay, from period 4. This is why they are called transitional element. And same thing we call to F block element. Hopefully you know which one is F block element. These last two lanes are called period or called F block. Why they are outside? Because they should be actually sitting here, but there is a very little space and these things will look so big. That's why we use it here. So hopefully we know first one is called lanthanide and actinide, and they are F block element. So F block elements means they will be inner transition, means transition ke under transition, means if you even need to go through D, sometime you have to go through F also. That's why they are called inner transition element. Okay, so hopefully you understood. I am going a little bit fast. If anyone has any problem, please ask me, because there are lots of interruption happened last week, so that's why I'm going a little bit speed. And already you people have studied class 11 and 12, hoping that you people know. Any problem, you stop me anytime, no problem. I will be very happy to reply all of you, any question you have. And there is lots of 20-21 students right now alive, so it's not possible sometime to ask each one of you. So don't be a sport. Okay, ask me something. It's nice talking to all of you guys. I don't get the time to get exam. Okay, right now you're asking which chapter. So see, this is a chapter for atomics. This is after atomic structure, periodic table or classification of the elements. Okay, classification of element here. Okay, so this is class 11 second chapter, so third chapter. Anything, any question? Yes. Okay, then I'll go little bit fast. So there are few things, few funny things that we know of. See, elements of group 1 is called alkali metal. Okay, group 1 elements are called alkali metal. Why they are called alkali metals? Because there is a something called alkali. Okay, do you know what is alkali or alkaline? Alkalines are basically bases. Okay, those base that can be dissolved in water, they are called alkaline. So don't mix up alkaline and base. All alkalines are bases, but not all bases are alkaline. Okay, alkalines means water soluble bases are called alkalines, and most of the time they are quite powerful, like sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide. And if you go through this, see first one, lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium. So potassium, sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide, hopefully you know these are the quite famous bases. So base means what? So there, as these elements make different kind of alkalines, they are called alkali metals. If you look at the second one, it's what? The second group is saying that alkaline earth metal. Alkaline earth metal means, what is alkaline earth metal? So these metals also, like calcium hydroxide, also make alkaline, but they can be also found. You can also found them in earth crust, means we can easily found it. Sodium chloride or sodium hydroxide is not actually that much available. Sodium is not available as it owns. It's always in form of it's different things like sodium chloride, sodium hydroxide, something like this. But calciums or this kind of things can easily be found. Okay, that's why they are called alkaline earth metal. Next, we are saying the group 3 are called pincogens. Exactly, no one, the first one is pinco from Latin, that's why pincogens. Group 16, okay, is called chalcogen. Group 16 is called chalcogen. What is chalcogens? Pincogens and chalcogens, I will show you. This number 3 is pincogen. This one, this is chalcogen. Okay, it comes from the word charcoal or carbon silicon, they are called the chalcogen, nothing else. And you hopefully know then the halogens are there. Okay, halogens means the fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, they are called halogens. Hopefully you know, all of you, right? And lastly, the noble gases, we all know. There are other few words like something called coin metals. If you can, I will send the note. Okay, in the app you will find the note in the study material in the batches. Please go through this word, something called a I call it something, sometime I call it this coin metals, and it's important. The question comes for NEET. Those who are going for NEET, it's JEE I have not seen, but NEET I have seen this question. What are the coinage metal? Coinage metals, the metals we use to make coins, they are copper, silver and gold. Okay, these metals are called coin metals. It's a small details you can remember. Okay, then periods are something. What are the other periods? The shortest period is the first period, there is 2 elements. Incomplete periods are the last, seventh one. Okay, now comes the blocks we were talking about it just before some little bit time early, that what is block. So blocks are where the last electron is moved. Okay, where the last electron has taken place. Last electron is called valence electron. Okay, any atoms last electron we will call them as valence electron. Remember this. Okay, valence electron means the last electron. So what happens with this last electron or valence electron? Valence electrons are the electrons that are mostly does lots of bonding. I will take you one, if I have the time I will take one the chemical bonding chapter. So there I will give you some understanding or give you a go through about what are those things. So for the moment, depending on valence electron position, there are 4 blocks, like S block, P block, B block, F block. Okay, I already showed you which one is what. As I don't have right now pen, I cannot clear you. The first two, hydrogen 1 and beryllium 1, this is called the S block. This 3 to 12, this is called D block, and lastly 13 to 18 is P block. Okay, and last these two are called the F block. Okay, always remember this. Anyone having any questions till now, you can ask me or I will move out. Okay, no questions? Okay, that SPDF block is there, I told you, and they have kind few funny things that happens. See, transition series, as D block are called transitional series, F block are inner transitioner, F block has two lines, one is lanthanides and another one is actinides. Okay, lanthanides because the first one is lanthanide and second one is actinides. Okay, the first element of that group are called, one is lanthanide, another is actinides. So from there the name came, lanthanoids and actinoids. Okay, it's quite easy, you can go through one. And the naming nomenclature, hopefully you know what is nomenclature. Nomenclature means how to name elements which have atomic weight more than 100. Why this nomenclature was created? See, nomenclature was created by IUPAC, okay, International Unit of Practical and Physical Applied Chemistry. So what are those? They tried to stabilize the where between Russia and America. What happened once the time of Cold War, these countries are each other's throat. That time there were lots of discoveries happening in radioactive area. So there was one element, I think 104 or 114, something like that. So this one was created same time by USA as well as the Russian government, the Soviet government. But the problem was both of them gave different name. One is Rutherfordium, another one is Mendelevium. So each one said this is the right one, you have to know, and for that they literally wanted to go to war. So to prevent the war or prevent this kind of confusing thing, what they did, they came together and made international community where they started naming, and the naming that time was proposed was something like that, if the atomic number, depending on the atomic number we will name. How? If the number is 0, you use nil, 1, un, 2 by, this is Latin number. From here you can do it. So how you can do it? So if someone has 115, so you will name it, one is un, another one is un. So un, 5 means pent, and lastly iam. So un pentium, something like that. Like 108, it will have a un nil octium. See, un nil octium. So this is the way you do it. This is the way you differently use it. Okay, it's not important. Sometimes they give a question, sometimes they not. Whatever we are, we'll go through it. Okay, diagonal relationship. This is a important one. What is diagonal relationship? So diagonal relationship is a peculiar thing that happens for the third group only. Okay, sorry, third period. So what happens with third period elements? They sometime actually every element from single group should be behaving similarly, but they don't. These third group elements actually behave elements from the next group and next period. Okay, next group, next period. So its position will be diagonally, like here. So lithium is actually quite similar to magnesium, not sodium. Beryllium should be quite easy to magnesium, but it happens to it's similar to aluminum. Boron is similar to silicon. This happens because of their smaller size and some other electronegative elements they do. I am not going in the detail, but they do. And this chapter most important is predictable. See, I think it will be, our class will be in 5 minutes it will be restarting, so join that time. So this periodic properties, they are quite important for you. Okay, how much important? The question, 99% question will comes from this portion of this chapter. How? Let's see. First thing is periodic, these are periodic properties or periodic trends that I told you. How uh, any kind of behavior changes across the period. First thing is atomic size. Atomic size means their atoms, how big the atom is. Okay, that is called atoms size. So if you look at periodic table, you will see, let me go through, I'm not going to waste here, I will show you from the periodic table only. Okay, so if you see something there, you will see what, that helium, lithium, sodium, potassium. So same group has same kind of properties. Okay, but how these things will change when we change the group or period, that is periodic trend. Here we are first talking about atomic size, means how big the atom is. So if we go down the group, the atomic size will increase. Okay, if we go down, अगर नीचे की तरफ हम लोग जा रहे हैं, so it will increase. Why it will increase? See, hydrogen to lithium, you will see each period actually means they have a new outside shell. Okay, period doesn't only means it's a number of electron increasing, it will actually a different next orbit. Like hydrogen has one electron, so first orbit can contain two electrons, right? We already know. So hydrogen has one, helium has two, so it's fulfilled. So we go for the next group, that next shell, that means lithium. So in lithium what will happen, there will be another one electron, but this electron will be in the next subshell. Okay, in the next outer subshell. So now what is happened, 2 to, it's going to 1 to 2. So as the outer subshell is adding, obviously the atomic size will increase. So if we go from top to bottom, always the atomic size will increase. And it's funny enough, if we go from this side to this side, okay, how the periods this arrow is showing, what will happen, the increasing number of proton in the nucleus, like one protons will be increased, so they will attract the outer shell. As they are attracting outer shell, what will happen, the power of nucleus increase, so we will try to attract more electron towards the nucleus. As they will attract more nucleus, more electrons toward the nucleus, what will happen, the size of the shell will actually decrease. Basically someone is pulling more. That is the basic concept of decreasing from left to right, from this side to this side, it is actually decreasing. So what we have learned, that if we go from up to down, ऊपर से नीचे जाने के लिए size increase होगा, and if we go from left to right, the size will decrease. Okay, so now the question may come something like, they will give you sodium, calcium, vanadium and chromium, arrange them depending on their atomic size. So what will happen, obviously you will know that as they are in the lower group, they are in bigger size, so they will come in the bigger. So if someone says that titanium, chromium or francium, yes, till the moment if we think about it, they are okay. Francium is, it should be, so it's Okay, so as you are saying that francium, yes, it will be the biggest of the lot, it should be, but this rule actually doesn't always works. Okay, this is a basic rule, there should be happening, but sometimes they don't actually follow. In mostly this D block and F block elements, this sometimes goes to the drain. Actually, when you study D block and F block, I will tell you later. The basic rule is this: if you go up to down, it will increase. If you go side to side this way, what will happen? It will decrease. Down increase, side decrease. That is the basic rule. It doesn't always follow. There are some pretty different things that happens. Okay, like some question they will give you to trick you. They will remove one electron or two electron. So when you add electron, means anions, it will increase size always. Okay, if you take out electron, it will decrease size. So this happens. So always remember, if I today I don't think I will have the enough time to go through few questions to show you, but else it will be no problem. So this is the understanding of atomic size. This is the trend or atomic properties. I'll go for the next thing. Okay, ionization energy. Let me come to that. All of you came. Okay, many of you went down. So what is ionization energy? Ionization energy means if you have to take out one electron from any atom, that is called ionization energy. So this is very important. Many things can be learned from this ionization energy. Is it acidic or basic? Someone has acidic character or basic character. It will do covalent bond or electrovalent bond. It will be reactive or non-reactive. These things are quite easily understandable from this ionization energy or IE. You will find this many where. So what is this ionization energy? Ionization energy means the amount of energy or work required to remove an electron from its last orbit to an isolated free atom in gaseous state is known as ionization potential. Basically, when you have to move out one electron, that is called, you have to make a cation. Okay, so you need to know how these things are changes. So there are a lot of different things that affects this ionization energy, but there are few things that we already know that it works. So first thing, the decrease of atomic size increases, so the negative hours forces. So let me give you one basic identity of how these things how these things actually moves. See how easily you can remove electron. Even you can say what will happen. So what is ionization energy? How easily you can remove the electron. That is ionization energy. Now if you see this periodic table, you will find out that who can easily leave out electron. कौन से लोग हैं, ये लोग कहाँ से आते हैं जो इलेक्ट्रॉन को बहुत जल्दी छोड़ना चाहते हैं. Those who will lose electron quite easily. So those who have very limited, very small amount of electron in their outer shell, they are actually willing to let them go, like the first group or second group or something like that. These atoms, like the lithium, you can say lithium has only one electron. If it can let go that one electron, what will happen? It will become a helium, and after becoming a helium, it will be quite stable. So that's why we always find lithium plus ion, not lithium minus ion, because they want to let the electrons go. But if you look for the last in that group, you will find fluorine. fluorine in last orbit will has only 7 electron. Okay, if it get only 1 electron, it will be stable. So will it let go all the 7 electron? No, it will try to take in 1 electron from outside. So that's why you will always find fluorine minus or F minus, not F plus. So this is ultimately IE, or our ionization energy. So if it's very easy to let go electron, that means it has a low ionization energy. If it is very high amount of energy you need to let go 1 electron, that's high. So from the work we can see, from this understanding you can see that lithium, uh, sodium, potassium, they have very low ionization energy, and fluorine, chlorine, iodine, they have very high ionization energy. And if someone try to go, fluorine will be having the one of the highest amount of. So if you go from high this side, from lithium side, hydrogen side, they will be very easily let them go. So the ionization energy will be low, and this one has high. This side means high ionization energy, this side means low ionization energy. And if someone has low ionization energy, it will be making you base. Okay, they will be making base, like lithium, beryllium, sodium, they make base, or they have basic character. And if they has this thing like fluorine, chlorine, bromine, they always tend to like make nitrogen, oxygen acidic character. So this question, if you find out which one has, out of which of them, out of the following elements, which one has more acidic character, you have to find out its position. And if you know the position, you can tell the ionization energy. If you can say the ionization energy, you can easily say it is basic character or it has acidic character. Okay, so that's how you create. And same as from up to down, if you go down, it's easier to let the electron go, or if the size increases, that means it's easier to let the electron go. Okay, if the size decreases, it's tougher to let the electron go. So as you go downstairs, it's quite easy. So this francium will be something that has the lowest ionization energy, and if you go to the fluorine, chlorine, this side, they will have the highest ionization energy. So something like the atomic size. Okay, if you remember this, you can easily calculate the ionization energy. If you know ionization energy, you know which one will be positively charged or negatively charged. If they have low ionization energy, their ions will be positively charged, like lithium, hydrogen, potassium, calcium, magnesium, they are all positively charged ions. And if they have a very high ionization energy, they are mostly will have electronegative. Their electronegativity will be also very high, like fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, this kind of things. So depending on ionization energy, you can learn 2-3 things. Number one is if they are acidic or basic. What I told you, remember now, that if low ionization energy, that means basic character. High ionization energy, that means it will be having acidic character. Always remember, I do not have the questions headed up for this today's class, so I am really sorry I cannot show you all those things, so I could have arranged. For the moment, just try to write it down somewhere or remember. Okay, let's go for the next point. Okay, next is electron affinity. Electron affinity means basically opposite of our ionization energy. Okay, electron affinity means if someone wants to add one electron inside the atom, so it will be exactly opposite. It will be exactly opposite of our ionization energy. It will exactly be opposite. I am not even going through, this is not that much important for you. Ionization energy is very important. This is exactly opposite. Opposite of means where it is easy to take out, there it will be very hard to put in one electron. So the trend will be exactly opposite to the ionization energy. Last is electronegativity. Okay, so many people confuses about this electronegativity. So I don't know if you have any idea about electronegativity. Electronegativity means the power of attracting the electron pair of any covalent bond. Okay, the power of attracting the electron pair of any covalent bond. Remember, so where this happens, when two elements are making a bond or two atoms are making a bond, what will happen? One nucleus will try to attract those two electrons from its side. Okay, it should be in the middle, but it cannot be. It try to attract. Why they attract? Their electron, their neutron nucleus have more power. They try to suck in some more. Okay, this is called electronegativity, and this electronegativity is very important. Because of this electronegativity, we tend to face polarity. Okay, and polarity makes lots of bonding. Electronegativity makes lots of bonding around us. One of the biggest example is water, ice is so very hard because of this electronegativity, or hydrogen bond is the result of electronegativity. So this electronegativity also depend on I or those energy. Let me show you. So noble gas don't have these things. They don't care for any electronegativity. They will not attract. Fluorine is the highest electronegative element, and francium, or these are the lowest electronegative element. Okay, fluorine is the highest because see, it has the power to attract other electron from outside. Just I told you about the IE. Okay, so always remember, it will depend on that one thing, ionization energy. It depends, or it creates many problems. Or fluorine is the highest, most electronegative element, and the others this side they are least electronegative, like that hydrogen, okay, lithium, they are least. In the middle they are, every time they can be in different part. Okay, okay. Let me see. Acha. One thing I'll tell you from this last point before we today we don't have math class, so don't worry. So one things before I stop the class, I will show you how to calculate valency from periodic table. So valency means how many other atoms it will be bonding when they are creating any molecules, okay, or any bonds. So not all of them, you cannot actually calculate all of them, but few you can calculate. If they are from group 1 and 2, their valency will be, if they are from 1, their valency is 1. If they are from 2, their valency will be 2. D block we cannot calculate. We can go calculate from S and P block. For P block, if it is group 13, remove the 1. Don't think about the 1. The 1 out of everything you have to remove. So it is, if you remove 1, it is 3. So boron has valency 3, carbon has valency 4. Nitrogen, it gets a little bit different. So when it's come to nitrogen, the number of outer shell electron is 5. In this case, you have to minus it from 8. Okay, total full valence shell is 8, So till middle, till 4, it is okay. 1 means 1, 2 means 2, 3 means 3, 4 means 4. From 5, it will take electron from outside. So valence will be 8 minus 5, 3. Next, for oxygen, it's number 16. 16 means it has 6 electron. So the valency will be 8 minus 6, 2. And lastly, fluorine. Fluorine has 7 electron. That means minus 7 electron means what? 8 minus 7, 1. So its valency is 1. And lastly, helium or other noble gas, they have fulfilled, means 8 electrons. So 8 minus 8 is 0. So they have a valency of 0. So that's how you calculate. 1, 2 is different. 1, 2 means valency is 1, 2. 13, 14 means valency is 3, 4. 15, 16 means from 8 to minus again 3, 2, 1, 0. Understood? Tell me or I will tell you. I will repeat. Understood or not, you tell me, because today is the, I will finish after this topic. So tell me if there is anything I can repeat or I can tell you, or you understood valency. Yes or no, please do reply. I know today I went through little bit fast, but please tell me if anything you have not understood. I will explain right now. Bolo. Yeah, is clear. Others, Shan, Vizilo, Senti, others, Namita, Inkongla, yes, clear, very good. Okay, so if you have no problem, then I will finish the chapter. We will record this. We are recording these classes, don't worry, and we will upload this in the app within next work. So these classes you can see later on. If you are having any problem, you can find out. Okay, so have a great day. Bye bye. See you next day. Okay, tata. Thank you. You're welcome, most of you. Bye bye.